What's going on, everybody? The Germ here, along with the wonderful, beautiful, gorgeous Jenna. Here, Memorial Day 2022. Two videos today. At the FDR library, we're going to just take a walk around. Unfortunately, we should have been here yesterday because we missed all the festivities. They had a bunch of like World War II stuff and stuff like that out front, but we missed that. That was on Sunday. Today, Monday, there's nothing like that going on, but let's take a walk around. They've got all these flags set up for the Memorial Day weekend. I love this. They do this every year. It looks super cool. We're going to take a walk around. We'll show you the president's house, his grave. Figured we start here. This just looks awesome. Thank you for all the people that served in our military. We're remembering you today. We just left all of the flags of honor, and right next door is the president's grave, so we're gonna go over here. There's a nice little placard here showing you the day of the funeral. So that was right here, and there's a bunch of presidents here that day. You can actually see there's Eleanor Roosevelt and not Woodrow Wilson. What is his name? Oh my gosh, Winston Churchill. There he is. All right, so let's go over to the grave. It's right there. Been here many times. They have a beautiful rose garden, and there is the president's grave right here. And got a bunch of chairs set up, which is very unusual. Got some kind of ceremony going on today, and along with FDR, of course, Eleanor's here as well. So I got permission. This is awesome. I've been coming here since I was a little kid to visit Fala's grave. This is so cool. Wow, I've never been this close. So there's Fala, probably the most famous presidential dog ever. And not as well known, but FDR's other dog, which is a German Shepherd, Chief. This is absolutely amazing. I can't believe I'm standing here right now. This is amazing. You're not allowed normally to walk this way. So I'm getting special permission by the National Park Service. This is pretty cool to show you guys because I've never gotten to do this before. So of course the grave of the president right here, 32nd president, Franklin Delano Roosevelt, and probably one of the most top 5 well-known first ladies, Eleanor Roosevelt, of course, next to him. This is amazing. I've never been in this location before. Very hard to see the markings on the grave. FDR, like they very plain stone. Definitely gotta do one of these because I never got to. There we go. So that was awesome, totally unexpected. You're normally not allowed over there. Thank you to the National Park Service for letting me in there. That was amazing. Got to see all the graves up close. They got a ceremony. I'm not sure if we're gonna make it back for the ceremony, but it's at 2 o'clock. We'll see what we can do. And of course, FDR, if you guys didn't know, the only president to serve 4 terms. Passed away in his 4th term. And yeah, I don't even know what else to say. It was amazing. Here we are at the president's home. You guys want to see what it used to look like? It wasn't as amazing back in the day. Originally his mother and father's house. I believe his mother heard more about Sarah Roosevelt than anybody else. Of course, FDR had polio, so he always needed assistance. Jenna, you love dogs. Mm-hmm. So FDR had a Scottish Terrier and a German Shepherd. You're a veterinarian technician by trade, right? What's the temperament of a Scottish Terrier? Are they friendly, good dogs?
Oh yeah, they're usually sweet.
Are they really?
Yeah.
See, I always thought they were like ankle biters.
No.
No?
Not usually. They're very, very loyal.
Are they really? I didn't know that. And what about German Shepherds?
Oh, Shepherds are very unpredictable.
Which one's more of a loyal dog, do you think, though?
Oh, I mean, Shepherds are loyal too. They're very loyal, but they're just... I don't like their temperament as much as...
So if you had to pick one of those breeds, which one would you have?
Oh, a terrier. Scottish Terrier.
I'd rather have a boxer.
Well, you said one of those.
I know.
I'm sorry to any Shepherd fans, but German Shepherd's probably like the last breed I would own.
Really? Oh my god, I didn't know that.
Yeah, that's like one of the very last breeds I would own. They're a lot.
And it's funny, I was wrong. I guess terriers aren't ankle butters, or not ankle butters.
Oh, I mean...
I thought of them as that. I gotta say, the Park Service does such a nice job over here, taking care of the property, the grounds, you know, living here locally. You know, I do come here often, probably once every couple months, and I really do appreciate what they do. The view over here is fantastic. When FDR was the president, the view was even better, because back then all these trees weren't as grown as tall as they are now. And they used to have picnics back here. It's two cool benches over here. And you can see over there on the other side of that valley, the area there, that's Highland and West Park, New York. And of course we're here in Hyde Park. But in between there, what you can't see is the Hudson River. The Hudson River is actually right there. So the trees you're seeing here, okay, are on one side of the river, and then the mountains on the other side, right in the between, is the Hudson River. So less than a mile away, in between that gap, there is the Hudson River. And you can see how much the trees have grown. And I'm going to show you guys a picture in the same area, and you're going to see something that you can't see right now. So there's FDR and Eleanor sitting in this area, and in the background, Jenna caught it, those two bridges. The first one is the old Poughkeepsie Railroad Bridge, and the one behind it is the Mid-Hudson FDR Bridge. And we all call it the Mid-Hudson Bridge still. And you cannot see those. That's now a walkway over the Hudson, the one bridge. And you cannot see those anymore because the trees have grown so tall. But they're right there. So one of the really cool things they have here is, when I was a teenager, they actually got a piece of the Berlin Wall here. So they cover it up during the winter, so it's impossible to see it during the winter time, but in the summertime it's exposed. So I'm going to show you guys a piece of the Berlin Wall. All right, here we go. There's a bust of FDR, and facing a bust of Winston Churchill with a piece of Berlin Wall in the middle. I believe they got this somewhere in the 90s. I want to say it was like maybe 93 or somewhere around there. Pretty neat to have a piece of this. Here's a description for you guys. Go ahead and pause the video if you want to read it. I am back here at the FDR home. Dropped Jen off. We had some lunch. She said it was too hot. It's funny because when we were leaving here, it was really hot. But since then, it's actually cooled off. And there's some kind of ceremony going on at the gravesite. So I figured I'd come back, check that out, and see what it's all about. So let's go check it out.
Good afternoon. Welcome to the home of Franklin D. Roosevelt National Historic Site. My name is Amy Bracewell, and it is my privilege to serve as the superintendent here of our national parks in Hyde Park. Thank you for joining us today and taking a moment on this holiday to reflect on those soldiers, civilians, and allies who made the ultimate sacrifice for our freedoms. Since the formation of this country, our servicemen and women have fought here on U.S. soil and in every corner of the globe to ensure all people have opportunities for justice, freedom, and lives free of fear and oppression. We take this moment today to reflect on their sacrifice and the responsibility we have to pick up their torch to ensure our beacon of liberty carries on. We are honored today to be joined by a representative of the USS Franklin and Eleanor Roosevelt. Standing in for Commander John Mastrani today is Ensign Jatin Kona. The USS Roosevelt has been in service since it was commissioned in 2000 and is currently actively deployed. I would like to thank Ensign Kona for joining us and offer up our collective prayer for peace and safety for the entire crew. It is now my pleasure to welcome Reverend Jean Person from St. James Episcopal Church to provide the invocation. Reverend Person.
Right shoulder, forward. Let us pray. Most gracious and life-giving God, maker of all things, judge of all humanity, you have implanted in every human heart a desire for your peaceable reign on earth, and you have called each of us to a life of sacrifice for the fulfillment of this bliss. We give you thanks for our high calling, the pursuit of a sure peace, and we remember before you this day especially the men and women of the United States military who have served your people and carried this vision through many challenges, in times of peacekeeping and in times of war, and especially those who have sacrificed their lives for it. We confess to you that all who are among the dead were felled ultimately not by the weapons or violent acts of enemies, but rather by a weakness in every human soul, the possibility of turning away from you towards selfish and unholy pursuits, thus corrupting our authentic human yearning for peace, for mutual respect and dignity among all peoples and nations, for perfect freedom. Yet even so, the women and men of the United States military have always risen to their best selves and to the higher vision, even when the way forward was not always sure and the costs were high. For their integrity, for their sacrifices which have preserved both our nation and the possibility of a just and lasting world peace, and for the ways you have upheld them, strengthened them, and led them straight and true, especially when they were sore tried, we give you thanks. Finally, we ask your blessing and protection even now upon those who today serve in the United States Armed Forces and for their families. And we pray that you will always guide and govern their hearts and our own, that as a nation we may pursue the unconquerable purpose of peace. Inspire us to claim our high calling even angels cannot share, and throughout the world the promise of your surpassing peace bear. Amen.
It is now my honor to introduce Ensign Kona from the USS Roosevelt to share his message this Memorial Day.
Residents of Hyde Park, Dutchess County, friends, family, and distinguished guests, good afternoon. I'm Ensign Kona from the USS Roosevelt. On behalf of the captain, Commander John Mastriani, and the crew of the USS Roosevelt, we are grateful for the invitation to speak today at your Memorial Day celebration, and it is my distinct honor and privilege to speak before you today. First and foremost, I would like to thank those involved with the preparations for this great ceremony. Without their hard work and dedication, we would not be able to have this amazing ceremony that we have today. As we gather here on Memorial Day, it is important to remember why we honor this day. On Memorial Day, we commemorate the courage of the men and women of our great nation who have gone before us and made the ultimate sacrifice in defense of our country, to protect our experimental democracy and the freedoms that we enjoy every single day. If the last 2 years have taught us anything, is that the world we live in will continue to present us challenges, both at home and abroad. However, it is the will and the fighting spirit of our people that makes us resilient to the challenges we face every single day. The crew of the USS Roosevelt promises to continue this service as the arsenal of democracy, a phrase we know was said multiple times by our ship's namesake, Franklin D. Roosevelt, during his fireside chats, but is also one of the mottos that we strive to live to aboard the USS Roosevelt. As we look to future challenges, whichever form they may take, we draw inspiration from the men and women of service who've gone before us. The crew of the USS Roosevelt extends their indebtedness to all those who have served, who are currently serving, and future United States Armed Forces members who will serve in our wake to preserve freedom and democracy across the world. Many of you may already know the warship that I and 350 sailors were fortunate enough to serve on, the USS Roosevelt, was adopted by Dutchess County when the ship was christened. Since then, the dedicated and caring community right here in Hyde Park has continued to show unwavering support for our ship, and for that we cannot thank you enough. For those of you who may not know, the USS Roosevelt is an Arleigh Burke-class destroyer that is forward deployed currently in Rota, Spain. I am happy to report that Roosevelt has completed her third forward deployed patrol in the 6th Fleet area of operations, in which we operated from the waters of the Mediterranean to the waters above the Arctic Circle in the high north. This Memorial Day, we look to previous years and appreciate how far we've come since our home port shift from Mayport, Florida in 2020. Needless to say, after these 2 years, we are thrilled to now experiencing the rich culture that the 6th Fleet area of operations has to offer. After port calls in Italy, the United Kingdom, and Norway, and operating with numerous allies in joint naval exercises this past patrol, we are now seeing the reward of facing every challenge that brought us here today. As I conclude my remarks, I want it to be known that as we travel thousands of miles across many seas in 6th Fleet, the crew of the USS Roosevelt never felt alone. We never felt far from home. We drew strength from the abundant support and encouragement from our loved ones, to include all of you right here in Hyde Park today. The relationship between Hyde Park and our ship is an important one. It keeps us grounded and reminds us that no matter where we are in the world, our ship always has a home right here in Hyde Park. Today, we also celebrate, beyond Memorial Day, the meaningful relationship between the crew of the USS Roosevelt and the namesake, this town of Hyde Park. As sailors and men and women of the U.S. Armed Forces, aboard Roosevelt, we strive every day to live with honor, courage, and commitment. These core tenets are also reflected in the character of all of you, those residing here in Hyde Park and its neighboring communities. We thank you for your sponsorship, your generosity, and your continued support and commitment to the crew. God bless Hyde Park. God bless the United States of America. Thank you.
We're honored to have with us Mr. Ralph Osterhout, who is a World War II veteran. The town of Hyde Park, represented by Mr. Al Terreggiani, Supervisor. Franklin D. Roosevelt Presidential Library, represented by Ms. Deanne Fuller, Special Events Coordinator.
Vanderbilt Van Buren National Historic Sites. The Roosevelt Family Wreath, presented by Mrs. Manuela Roosevelt. Roosevelt DDG-80, represented by Ensign Jochen Kona. Please stand.
Ceremony's over. We've been invited to put a rose on the president's grave, which I'm going to participate in. Thank you very much. Thank you. I'm not sure how much of that you guys got to see. My phone's starting to overheat from using it. But very nice ceremony. Well, everybody, I hope you enjoyed today's video. We had a wreath laying ceremony. Pretty cool. I've never been to one of those before. I'm going to try to edit it down so you guys don't see everything because it was very long. But until next time, like, share, subscribe. If you're interested, donate on Super Thanks. And I will see you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching.